those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WNBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WNBA.
It's now time for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. You can also watch live on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Here is your host, Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome, everyone, to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. You can check him out alongside co-host Mike Mueller every Monday through Friday on YouTube from 11 a.m. till noon. Search Two Dumb Yinzers. They talk Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, and much, much more. Also, make sure you check us out here on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Well, I guess we're going to talk about the Steelers today. They won. They won. Everybody's hero saved the day. Number 90, TJ Watt. He's the best ever. You know what? I think if TJ Watt plays the Washington Commanders in 2 weeks, that I think he could beat them by himself. What do you think, Ryan?
You mean put him in every position and he gets to do a little bit?
No. He just plays one position. He runs upfield 8 to 10 yards, and then everybody loves him. Do you know, if you say anything negative about TJ Watt, like maybe the fact that 80% of his body is his legs?
Yes.
Or that he's a terrible tipper, like whenever he tips $1 on DoorDash. If you say anything negative about him, apparently everybody's related to him because it's like you're talking to his brothers, and they get so offended.
He is the modern day Pittsburgh. What's the word I'm looking for? You cannot say anything bad about TJ Watt.
I mean, he's just so odd looking. His legs are 6 feet of his body. He's so goofy looking.
Yeah.
And that stupid leg kick after he gets a sack just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, ugh. Anyway, so the Steelers win. They move to 6-2. Ryan, let's just get into it right now.
Yeah, man.
Are the Steelers a 6-2 team? Are they a 12-4 team, or 12-5, or 13-4? With that extra game.
Before this season started, my prediction on this season was going to be 12-5. I believe that's what I said.
Oh God, do you do drugs?
And here's the thing. I was.
What type of drugs were you on?
I don't recall that day.
It was probably like Coca-Cola and maybe a Snickers.
I thought with the two guys coming in, I thought the quarterback position was going to improve, certainly. And we finished with a 10-7 record under the Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph offense. So I figured if you bring in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, it should certainly get better. So my prediction at the beginning of the season was roughly 12-5, I do believe. Do I think you know what I do? I don't think that there's anybody in the league that certainly tipping the scale and being a really dominant team. We fit in this pack of teams of about 10 to 12 teams that are sitting where we are. We could have easily lost another game or two, but we also could have won the Dallas game. So I think we're sitting right where we're at. It's not because we're dominant. It's because, that's kind of where the league is, and we're just kind of in that pack of teams.
Are you saying that the league only has a couple elite teams and the rest of the teams are kind of in that pack, and maybe we're not in the middle of the pack? Maybe we're like in the upper half of that pack?
I believe so. Listen, as far as the dominant teams in the league, I think there might be one, maybe two. I'd say the best team in the league at this point, according to what I'm seeing, is the Detroit Lions. I think the KCs are really soft.
Who did the Lions lose to? Don't they have a loss?
They do. They lost to, I don't recall. But I think that Kansas City is a soft undefeated right now. I think that they could be beat in any given moment. I just think that they're the face of the league for whatever reason. Just like Tom Brady, that team always finds ways to win. So whatever.
The refs?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying they find ways to win. But I don't. I feel that we have just as good a chance as anybody else in the AFC. If you could think of a team that could probably dominate us, I would say maybe Houston would probably beat us just because of their game, and I could see them doing what they did to us last year with our defense. But as far as being dominant, the Detroit Lions, that's the only team I see.
Well, the good news is we don't have to play the Lions.
It's true.
So they're not on the schedule.
There's some really good teams, though.
But have we played a really good team yet?
No. We haven't.
Yeah. 8 maybe mediocre to awful teams.
Yeah.
You know, who's mediocre? What, the Colts?
Yeah, Colts are mediocre.
Denver's at mediocre, right?
Denver, Atlanta, the Jets, the Giants.
Jets are not at mediocre.
They were supposed to be. Here's the thing about the Jets. They did lose 5 in a row, but this was a team that was projected to be better than everybody else in the AFC.
Yeah, it's because they like to hype them up because it's New York, and all they do is hype up New York garbage.
Yeah. And you know what's nice about New York? The more teams they send to Pittsburgh to play, the more teams that we beat. We just beat Syracuse, Pitt, of course, and then the 2 New York pro teams in the NFL. So
does Syracuse count?
Just as much as anybody else. They were 5-1.
No. I mean, like New York, because New York City and upstate New York. That's
like
New York
that.
City. You might as well be
Obviously.
talking about the state of Washington and Washington D.C. at that point.
But if you're just saying teams coming down from New York, they certainly fall in that category.
All right. How did the Bills do against the Steelers last year in the playoffs?
They did really well.
Yeah.
That's the hurdle we have to jump, and we have to decide if we think that Russell Wilson's going to be better than Mason Rudolph was, and I think he will be.
All right, Ryan. Here's the situation. At 4:15, we have to do our little break thing that we do, and our breaks are very short here. So if we go to break, just be sure we'll be back in just a couple minutes. It's not like other radio stations where they go to break and your entire drive is just them on break. So when we go to break, we are going to come back. We're going to do a new segment, and I want to get like a little like. Did you ever watch? You don't watch movies. The Lego Movie. You know that the Lego Movie.
I know what it is.
So there was this character, Good Cop, Bad Cop. We're going to play Good Cop, Bad Cop.
Okay.
At 4:17ish today, and go over the game. But there are some things about the game I wanted to talk about. You know, how many penalties pre-snap did the Giants have? Wasn't it like 100?
Well, listen, again, the Giants were a bad team. We knew this going in, and I'd said last week I'd be very surprised if they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. That's just not a good team. Those kind of things were the things that I talked about whenever I was saying this is not a good team. Pre-snap penalties throughout the course of the game. That's the Giants in a nutshell. They're a bad football team.
See, when I think of bad football team, I think of like, okay, a wide receiver finally gets open and the quarterback just misses him, or the running back they ran it, and then he fumbles. I don't think false start, illegal procedure. Illegal formation. Like, how do you have those penalties? Like, how unsmart are these guys?
Oh, you know what? Some of them are very unsmart because, listen, that's
not a word, people.
This is what people have done. These guys make a lot of money to do what they do professionally, and they've done what they do for a very long time. Those are discipline issues. Those are things that, it's between the ears.
Is it discipline, or is it just like they're just not smart?
I guess that
every wide receiver knows that you have to get set for 1 second.
Right.
How do you not get set and then go into motion? Cost your team a touchdown.
You're right. I think saying undisciplined is a nice way of saying not smart.
Unsmart. Unsmart. Okay, fair enough. The Steelers luckily made, I don't know, I want to say about 25 mistakes themselves.
Yeah.
Because they should have blown this team out.
Yes.
This is a Giants team that's going to win 4 or 5 games all year, and they could have won. One of the things they did was they went for 2. They went for 2 to make it a 6-point game as opposed to a 7-point game, which I didn't understand that. Why you want to make it a 6-point game, I don't get it.
You know what? Everyone was scratching their head at that point, but when they did not convert, I think everybody
didn't convert.
Everybody,
Bryan, did you see the play?
It's not. To be honest, the play is not coming to my mind right away. What was it? It was
they lined up their 5 linemen out wide left.
Yeah, okay,
with
that's
whomever
right.
in the backfield, and nobody blocked.
Yeah.
And Alex Highsmith was like, am I offsides, or like did I do something wrong? Because that was the dumbest play ever otherwise. And guess what? It was the dumbest play ever.
Once they didn't convert, once it was a no conversion, I think people just forgot we were winning. It's let's win this football game. I don't think a lot of people put much thought into that. But yeah, that falls again into a team that's not that good. They're not a good football team. Do you see Kansas City does it, but for some reason it works for them. But do you see anybody else doing that and it actually being successful ever? That's something that bad football teams do.
But why did they go for 2 to begin with? I don't care about the play call.
Yeah, it beats me.
Make it a 7-point game.
Right.
All right, stop them on defense, go down and score, and now it's tied. Here's what happens. I talk about analytics a lot and how it really helped out, the early 2000s Oakland Athletics and how they were able to compete because they brought analytics into baseball and it helped them with the budget that they had compete with teams with very good budgets. And now analytics is in every single part of every sport. And supposedly on the road, instead of going to overtime, you're supposed to win it, because there's a X amount of chance of losing in overtime on the road. This wasn't even they didn't even get to that point yet.
Yeah.
This was to make it a 7-point. This was not to tie or to win, or they didn't even get to that point. This is coaches just trying to be super smart and doing the wrong thing.
You know what? That's a very good point. When I was watching the game, as a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking back about it, I remember thinking that myself. I thought, why would he be going for 2 right now? This is something that you would do if you were not a terrible team. When the New York Giants line up for 2, you think to yourself, okay, well, there's probably a pretty good chance that they're not going to convert. Maybe the defense is going to stop them. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're a good team, maybe you do this. Otherwise, there's no explanation for what it was that they did. There's no reason to go for 2. They went for 2. They failed miserably. But you have to be a good team to do these kind of things. And the Giants, they're not. That's why they tend to fall backwards like they do, and they are what they are.
Yeah, I mean, I guess their thought is if we score again, we're going to go for 2 again. And instead of lining the guys wide out to the left, we're going to line them wide out to the right.
Yeah, that I never understand what that play is.
And none of them even, they hiked the ball, and the only 2 people to move were the quarterback and Alex Highsmith.
Yeah.
And everybody else was like, what just happened? Where's the flag? Nope. It was just a stupid play.
Yes, very stupid. Again, if you're a good team, maybe. But if you're a team that's struggling to do anything, why are you doing this kind of stuff? You can't even do the things you're supposed to do.
They can't even line
Correct.
up without having their guys lined up in the appropriate spots before the snap.
Yeah.
Yeah, the New York Football Giants, they have probably 5 or 6 good players on their team, and the rest of it is just pathetic.
Absolutely. And, as far as going back to the Steelers, they play to the level of their opponent. It doesn't matter if we're good. It doesn't matter if we're bad. The Pittsburgh Steelers tend to play to that level. And you've seen some New York Giants in the Steelers game the other day. They play to that level. I don't understand why.
Yeah, I mean, and good cop, bad cop, we're going to get into a lot of the bad things that the Steelers did. But they are 6-2.
They are 6-2.
They are in first place in the AFC North and will be for at least 10 plus more days.
Yes. Because
if the Baltimore Ravens do beat the Bengals, I think they play the Bengals. Who do they play here? The Broncos. I was so close. It began with a B.
It did begin with a B.
The Broncos are at Baltimore at 1 o'clock on Sunday. I guess I'm going to be watching that. The Bengals play the following week. That's what I was thinking of. So if the Ravens beat the Denver Broncos, the Steelers will still be a half a game ahead of the Ravens. So
and if the Broncos win, that will gain a half a game. So they'll drop to
a game and a half. Yes. Yeah. They're quick math.
But they, with the Broncos, they're a team that they can win football games. They're not good. There are a few pieces still away, obviously. But the way that they've been playing recently, it's been improved. So the Ravens lost to the Browns. You can't automatically give this to Baltimore right now, at least.
Are the Browns better now that they got rid of Deshaun Watson?
Quite possibly, yes.
I mean, was Deshaun Watson... Okay. The Browns have had, 6,000 quarterbacks since they came back?
Yeah.
Okay. So this century... The Browns have drafted first overall, first round, 9 million quarterbacks. They decide to do something new this time and take some guy that's on a 2-year suspension for being a creepo, and they're going to pay him $9 zillion a year, and they're going to mortgage all of their next 10 years' future on this one guy. And it turns out this guy is either hurt or when he plays, you'd rather him just say, I was hurt, because that's how bad he's been.
I appreciate the dedication that the Browns have to being bad.
Yes, me too.
Because as you said, since they've come back in 1999, they've gotten every good quarterback that you can possibly get out of the draft. They got the guys at number 1. They got the guys at number 2. They got guys who's supposed to be the next big thing on the planet, and they managed to mess it up every single time. I gotta say, I appreciate that dedication to stinking. I mean, they do it better than anybody else.
Right? They do. Well. Hold on. There is an organization that does it worse than the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
They reside here in Pittsburgh. They are your Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, across sports, of course. In NFL, I think the Browns. But statistically, here's one for you real quick. The losingest team ever in the NFL is who, Brian? Quick trivia for you.
The losingest team in the NFL history.
Yes.
LeBron James?
Yes. The Arizona Cardinals. They are the losingest team.
Really? They've been around that long?
Yes.
I was trying to think back to like all the original teams. I didn't even know they were around for that long.
I think losing percentage. But
do you remember when was it Denny Green? Danny Green? Denny Green? What's his name?
Coach Denny.
Denny Green said we were who they were who we thought they were when they lost to the undefeated Bears.
Yeah,
that was good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Speaking of good stuff, when we come back, we're going to play Good Cop, Bad Cop. First time ever here, the inaugural Good Cop, Bad Cop segment. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
When you talk about community involvement and safety, the name Fry stands at the forefront in Beaver County. Fry Transportation's mission is to continue to raise the bar as the gold standard in their industry by providing the safest, most reliable, and cost-efficient transportation service in Beaver County through their strong relationships with their communities, best-in-their-class drivers, equipment, and technology. There's nothing more important than the safety of their students, employees, and community members. Fry Transportation, where the quality of their organization is characterized by the makeup of the individual behind the wheel.
There's a reason why the words True Value are in the name. True Value in any purchase or store visit has a lot more to do with your overall satisfaction and experience than just price alone. That's exactly what you'll find at the Rochester True Value Hardware store inside the East Rochester Shop and Save. Expert advice combined with great selection and favorable pricing. It's the perfect time to get your fall projects started today by heading to the Rochester True Value Hardware store inside the East Rochester Shop and Save.
At Geneva College, your academic experience will prepare you with exceptional expertise in your chosen field. But what you'll learn is so much more than just that. Integrating faith and learning, you'll grow to see God's purpose and calling in your life's work. You'll be challenged to imagine how the world around you could be different and what your part might be in making that difference. You were made to live courageously. Visit geneva.edu today.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion. No intro music. Not a fan of that, Ryan. All right, it's Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the same part of his studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas.
Hey.
Make sure you guys go check me out on X, formerly known as Twitter, OMO on Sports, One Man's Opinion on Sports, or check me out on YouTube, One Man's Opinion on Sports. I just started a new channel as well, One Man's Opinion on Sports, #Shorts. It'll be a Shorts channel if you don't like to watch long format YouTube. I will have the short format Shorts going on here soon, so make sure you get over to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and start checking out all of my stuff over there.
Okay, so that's what was going on. I got something that said that I wasn't subscribed, and I thought, what do you mean? I am subscribed.
No.
It's a whole different entity.
Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to produce long format videos for people, probably 6 minutes and above.
Okay.
And then there'll be short format videos anywhere from 15 to like 60 seconds. But then there's also going to be like those 2 or 3 minute quick things that are just like, you got to get them out there and you got to put them out there. And they
I like that. I certainly will subscribe.
So there will be the short videos, then the long videos. And a lot of, I would say about 25% of people watch both. But for the other 75% of people, I want them to watch the long format that they like or the short format.
I like that.
So that's that. So yeah, so when there's quick videos, it'll be One Man's Opinion on Sports, #shorts. And for the 6-minute and longer videos, it'll be One Man's Opinion on Sports. That's over on YouTube. Also, make sure you follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, OMO on Sports. That's One Man's Opinion on Sports. This is our first segment ever of Good Cop, Bad Cop. I want to play this every Steelers game every week. Good Cop, Bad Cop. We need to have like a little intro for it, like Good Cop, Bad Cop. You know, like
we'll work
something.
on that. All right.
So let's work on that. Play today. Ryan is going to be the good police officer. You know, the one from the small town with the old, boxed police car with the big sirens on there. You know what I mean? Like the Andy Griffith show.
Yeah.
So that's Ryan. He's going to have like, the light brown uniform and very little, anything. Now me, I'm going to be
little anything. What the heck was that?
Well,
what was that finish? Come on, man.
So I'm going to be the bad cop, the one that has like full body armor. I have like the shield in front of me. Like I'm going to go down and just like rough up. I'm going to rough up some protesters and whatnot. So basically the stance here is Ryan will say everything positive he can about the Steelers, each subject we bring up here, and I'm going to say everything negative about them because, in my opinion, back whenever I played sports, let's just say I went, 4 for 4 at the plate and I turned a double play at the field, or in basketball, I shut down their best guy. There was always those plays that I felt like I could have done better.
Absolutely.
Right now, the Steelers, in my opinion, we just discussed last segment, they haven't played anybody good yet. They have plenty of mistakes, plenty of things that they've done wrong that I feel like if they play the good teams, they're not going to get away with. Ryan will build on all the positives so far halfway through the seasons. I'm going to build on all of the negatives that we need to adjust.
So I'm like a defense attorney, and you're like the prosecutor.
No, you're the good cop. I'm the bad cop. We're playing cops and robbers.
All right.
This might be Law and Order. Next segment, it might be the order part. It might be the law in the beginning. So first thing we're going to discuss is the quarterback play for 8 games. Obviously, 6 games were started by Justin Fields. Then they bring in Russell Wilson. Then all of a sudden, Justin Fields gets an injury that Russell Wilson had the injury. What's going on with these injuries? Because I think the quarterback play, as a bad cop, I can't say it's been bad. A backup quarterback gets you 4-2.
Yeah.
The quarterback that hasn't played in a year and a half gets you 2-0. I can't really play bad cop on that. But what's going on with the injuries and
this injury thing is wild to me. It's not just our quarterbacks. It's not just our team. It's around the league. There's a crazy injury situation going on around the NFL for probably not just this year, past couple seasons. Whatever that's about, I don't know. But let's get to the quarterbacks. I think that we do have a reason to feel optimistic. I do feel that I'm always the person that says you need that guy. You got to have your franchise quarterback if you want to win anything in this league. And without having your franchise quarterback, I think Russell Wilson could be the closest thing to that. Of course, you want to get your guy who's going to be the next Big Ben. You want to get your Brady or Mahomes, any one of these guys, because those teams that have these quarterbacks consistently win. But with that being said, I do think that Russell Wilson is the closest thing that you could find, that the Pittsburgh Steelers could find in this league right now to play under center for them, that is closest to that particular position that I'm talking about. So I do feel optimistic. I think Steeler fans should feel optimistic. And another reason they should feel optimistic as well, Brian, you're talking about the tough teams coming up down the schedule. Once it's in the division, I think it's anybody's game. I think 2 games with the Ravens could go either way. I think 2 games with Cincy, 2 games with Cleveland. It's going to be the 3 games outside of that: Washington, Kansas City, and Philadelphia in the second half of the season. Those are the 3 important games that you're going to want to keep an eye on, because those are going to be the games that you're going to see how the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to prepare and be ready when it comes time to play in the playoffs, play that quality of team. Again, you're going to get AFC North play inside the AFC North. That's going to be drag out, knockout football. But those other 3 games, I think that they're going to tell a big story. If they lose to Washington, if they lose to Philadelphia, if they lose to Kansas City, then you might start scratching your head saying, maybe we haven't made an advancement and we're not going to be able to do what we want to do in the playoffs. But if you beat those teams, those are the games that I think that you're going to want to keep an eye on to see if this team improved with the quarterbacks that we have right now. And I got to be honest, Brian, as the good cop, not just because I'm the good cop, but I do think that they will play well enough. They'll beat maybe 1-2 of those teams, and I think we could win a playoff game this year.
A playoff game. Okay. So you think the quarterback play is good enough to win a playoff game, or at least be competitive? Maybe that wouldn't be so bad. All right. Just last game, what would you rate Russell Wilson's play?
I thought Russell played smart. He played a good game. He didn't give the game away. At one point, he did fumble the football.
It was such a good play, though. He escaped the sack, and everybody was like, "What? Oh, no." It was like two emotions because it was almost tragedy.
Yes.
Then it was he got the first down, and then, boom, coughs it up.
I thought Russell Wilson played as good as he's played. Performed better than anybody that's played in that spot since Big Ben Roethlisberger had retired. And again, I think he's the closest thing you're going to get to one of those guys. I'm doing the thing with my fingers that I always talk about, and I think that we should be happy with that. And
it's the G-rated one. He hasn't done the X-rated one yet.
I haven't done the X-rated one yet, but I do think that, guys, we are on a better foot than some people think we are, and I think people are starting to recognize that we're probably a little bit better than they were giving us credit for.
All right, so the quarterback play has gone well. Hopefully Russell stays healed, and hopefully this bye week gets Justin Fields back, because if for some reason Russell Wilson goes down, you want Justin Fields to be able to go in there. I feel very confident. I think to win a Super Bowl, you need a top 10 quarterback, and I don't want to say Russell Wilson's potentially a top 10, but he's at least a top 15, top 16 quarterback, so he's in the top half of the league, I think. Justin Fields, I think, is a productive quarterback in a different type of way. He misses wide open receivers. No extra wide receiver are going to get any extra catches because he's only throwing to one or two guys, because I don't think he can scan the field. But I think he can get you some wins. So I think as long as those two are healthy, the Steelers will be a playoff team and possibly be able to win the division.
And you got to consider as well, Brian, I mean, there's only literally two teams out of the 32. Two out of 32 that has a better record than the Pittsburgh Steelers, one being Detroit, having one loss, and the other one being the Kansas City Chiefs that are undefeated.
Yeah, there's a few that are 6-2 as well. I know the Jills are. Who else is 6-2?
And there's a handful around the league that are 6-2.
What is Washington?
Washington, they are 6-2. Let me pull up the standings real quick. I can let you know.
Ryan, pulling up the standings. The Bills. Oh, isn't like the whole NFC North like at least have 4 wins?
That's a good division. The worst team in that division is 4-2, and that's the Bears. All right, so I do have a 7-0 from the Chiefs. I have 6-2 Texans, 6-2
the Texans,
Buffalo. Even one game lower than that being the Ravens 5-3, the Broncos 5-3. Let me go over to the NFC 6-2. You got the Commanders, the Packers. And then also beyond that, the Eagles are 5-2. So, I mean, there's a bunch of teams in that group that I was talking about, Brian. And I think all those teams could potentially get into the playoffs, win a couple games, and, make something happen. But if you're in the NFC, watch out for that Detroit team. They are playing really, really good football.
They are. It might be a little too early. You want to be playing like that down the stretch, so we'll see. Now, let's move on to the running back situation.
Yeah.
Najee Harris got off to a terrible start. We had Patterson playing with Warren hurt. Then Patterson gets hurt, and then Warren was still hurt, and then Warren's back. We had some practice squad guys on. I think there's a lot to be desired for Warren and Patterson and the rest of them, but Najee Harris.
Yeah.
You're a fan.
Absolutely.
Let me ask a question, because I'm going to play devil's advocate, because I can't say anything bad about Najee Harris. I'm going to say something bad about the organization. How about I take that stance?
Okay.
Why on God's earth did they not give him his 5th-year option for like $7 million? What is $7 million?
I know. That's a question. That's the $1 million question. I think if you're going to give
it's
the money,
$7 million question.
Give the money to Cam Hayward, who I certainly wouldn't extend it, and you don't give it to Najee. I don't know. I don't know what their thinking was.
What more do they want out of Najee?
I know.
Are they going to give him a deal?
I sure hope so.
Something like
because
a 5
if not,
year
he's going to go somewhere else and he's going to do what he does. Again,
I think he's going to do what he does better.
I do too.
I think he'll find an offensive line that's much better, and I think he's going to just laugh in our face. I don't know if I've ever seen a Pittsburgh Steeler running back run as hard as he does.
He's a hard runner.
That includes Bettis and everybody. I mean, what was that leap he did?
Yeah.
The 110 hurdles.
And that's why on our show the other day, I gave him the game ball, and people were saying, well, how can you not give it to Calvin Austin?
I said that.
This guy jumps.
And your mom said that.
This guy
Debbie.
jumps over people on a regular basis. I mean, you don't. That's freakish. Yes, don't get me wrong. Calvin Austin had an amazing game, and he probably realistically did win the game ball. But what it is that Najee Harris is doing week in, week out now, as you mentioned, this isn't an ideal offensive line to run behind. And the fact that he put up 1,000 yards in his first 3 seasons playing behind these makeshift lines and not having a quarterback that opens the game up the way that Russell Wilson can, I think he's done phenomenal to this point. Now he's getting that little bit of help. He has a quarterback that opens it up because now you can't stack the box. So there's a lot of things that are happening in Najee's favor, and I think his numbers are going to just keep going up and up and up, considering he can stay healthy.
All right, well, that went way too fast, that 15 minutes here, Ryan, so we're going to have to go to break. We are going to come back with more Good Cop, Bad Cop when we come back. You've been listening to 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
This is Mitch Carver from Carver Construction. Playing a great football game takes teamwork, great leaders, and great individuals. As a former high school football coach myself, I know what it takes to win. I apply these same qualities to Carver Construction in New Brighton. Satisfying customers isn't anything new at Carver. We've been doing it since 1982 for both residential and commercial renovations. I'm behind every job we do, so I can guarantee you that every time you deal with us, you win. Call us or visit us at our website at carverconstructionpa.com.
Looking for home services? Call Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls. Their staff provides company, conversation, and companionship to all patients, ensuring medications are taken on time, participating in fun community activities, personal care, meal prep, and light household work are all services provided by Patriot Home Care, all thanks to the hardworking and selfless team members. Call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or stop in Patriot Home Care, 1225 7th Avenue, Beaver Falls.
Want the ultimate cigar experience? Fat Boy Cigars Premium Tobacco Shop and Smoking Lounge is located off of 376 in Center Township. Fat Boys Cigars offers all your cigar needs with an assortment of some of the finest cigars, including small batch boutique cigars and over 21 aromatic pipe tobacco blends and accessories. Stop and see their luxurious lounge accommodations. Book them for your next event. Visit their social media page for a list of event dates and times. Welcome to the Fat Boys world, Beaver County.
This is Andy Toole, men's basketball coach at Robert Morris University, here to talk about my friends at Falcone Moon Township Ford. I know what it takes to win a basketball game. It begins with practice and a team of players who want to win. The same is true of the team at Moon Township Ford. Professionals who will win you over. They'll find the best rate and terms on a car loan to help you get the best deal. Make a fast break and avoid the roadblocks that stop you from finding the car you want. Go where I go. Moon Township Ford.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
We interrupt this sports show for a little breaking news. By my calculations, Donald J. Trump, former president of the United States, is ahead in all seven swing states currently. And on the line, we do have the host of Thinking Logically. You can catch him from 5 to 6 every Monday and Thursday, except for tomorrow. He's going to be a little early, 4 to 5 tomorrow, so catch him from 4 to 5. We do have Joe from Thinking Logically. Joe, are you there?
How's it going, sir?
There he is.
Going, Brian? How's it going, Ryan? Brian and Ryan, wow.
It is the B&R factory here.
R&B. Use R&B, I guess.
At least it's
smoother.
I thought we were blues and rhythm.
I guess as long as we're not B&O, we'll be okay.
Yes. So Joe, now you follow politics probably almost as much as I do. What are you hearing from the battleground states? Mostly Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. What are you hearing?
Okay, so Wisconsin we have to completely throw out because of how they are. You won't know if it's a Democrat, Republican turning in their ballots early because they don't do that. Now, as far as Michigan, you would think Michigan would be Kamala's best state to win, probably, that Wisconsin. However, and I can't believe I'm saying this in 2024, the Muslim population in Michigan, Dearborn, Michigan, places like that, could be enough to swing Michigan in Trump's favor. It's absolutely crazy to say that, but for some reason, maybe just because this administration has been that bad, Muslims are going to vote for Trump, it looks like, en masse. We even have Muslim Muslim mayors coming out and endorsing Donald Trump. So that covers Michigan. What other state did you say? Pennsylvania?
Yes. You might have heard it. It's over it's by Ohio, West Virginia, a little south of New York.
Okay, so with Pennsylvania, here's the thing. It comes down to Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and I guess Erie a little bit. There are a few outlets in the central part of the state that are Democratic strongholds, but it's all about Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, mainly Philadelphia County. What happens there election night? They have a history of dead people voting. I believe Joe Lewis's father, who would have to be like 115 years old by now, voted in the 2020 election.
Let me guess, he voted for Biden?
Well, we don't know. Maybe. What other states do you want to cover here? Arizona's a crazy one. I don't know how Arizona ever went Democrat, and it went Democrat at 9 p.m. Fox News called that on 2020. I don't think we'll see that again. It's crazy to say that we could see I don't want to say landslide because I want everyone to continue to go out and vote en masse and keep on voting. But I'm wondering, are the swing states on election night going to be like, instead of what we see, are they going to be Virginia, New Hampshire, states like that? It's only been about, 20 years since states like Virginia, and I'm trying to think of another example besides Virginia, would always be Republican. George W. Bush won Virginia both times. I don't know if you guys know that or not.
Yes.
But, and then, I mean, a lot's changed in 20 years. And now you have places like Virginia. Are they going back red? I don't know. New Hampshire's a weird one because it's such a small state. But when you look at the primary votes of what Trump did versus I guess Kamala didn't really run in the primary. But you see what
Not
Trump
one
did
single vote. in two primaries.
You can't compare it. You can't compare the primaries and the intensity that was in the primaries. But as far as the election, I can't wait. We got another 6 days and change for hours here. I just hope that we have an answer by Wednesday morning, but I doubt we will.
Right now, haven't like 25% of the voting population already voted?
Yeah, and I hate that. More Republicans are doing it than in 2020. But I still hate that because honestly, I'm going to be for real. If I was a diehard Harris supporter and I saw these returns, I would feel a little bit disenfranchised and maybe not want to vote. I'm not lying when I say that. There's absolutely no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no energy with the Harris supporters. You see it all with Trump. I went down to the Beaver County Courthouse to vote twice, and both times it was over an hour. And I'm not lying to you. They could have been Harris supporters, but they really just didn't look like it.
Red hats?
Or South. Red hats and just like...
was it Joe Biden with a red hat?
I don't think Joe Biden can make it down the hall without getting lost.
Right. Now, did you like what Joe Biden said about all of the Trump supporters being garbage?
I was trying to think. Now, Kamala was about to make a speech in front of the, whatever it's called, the eclipse, I think, at the Capitol. It was the same place where January 6th happened and Trump was making his speech. So why on God's green earth? Why would Joe Biden decide to do a video conference and call half of America garbage? Remember, we're Nazis and fascists. That's fine. But now the media is walking back and saying he didn't call us garbage. They're saying there was an apostrophe in there. Joe Biden wanted to use an apostrophe and say Trump's supporters thing with an apostrophe S, apparently.
Well, he said it, and I think he's voting for Trump. I honestly think he said it on purpose. I think he can't stand that woman. I think the fact that they won't let him anywhere near her entire, they won't even let her. They'll send him to Scranton. I think that's the only place they let him go, right?
Joe Biden's good with unions and talking to, I don't know, elderly people in the dead. That's who his base is. He's not getting anyone else. Why you would ever have him come out and talk about anything? What are they going to do next? And if you're Kamala and you hear that, like, my reaction would just be, oh, no! Like, you're going to call half the country garbage 5 days before an election? And you know what the funniest part is about this? He's kind of right, because we're doing the Halloween. It's my son's 2 years old. We're doing Halloween. Guess who I'm being for? I'm being Oscar the Grouch for Halloween. And
you sounded like an awful lot like Oscar the Grouch. I was going to guess that.
Yeah, I don't get to be the Cookie Monster. Those are already taken, so I'm stuck with, I guess, someone that fits my personality a little bit closer.
Now, what's your son being?
He's the Cookie Monster, and he literally has the last few months been literally.
Let me ask you this: how many cookies has Cookie Monster ruined over the course of your lifetime? He's never eaten a bite of a single one, but he chews those things up.
I know, and it makes, as a child growing up and see that, you want to do it. It's just, not a good. I always wanted, when we would go to the Chips Ahoy. I love Chips Ahoy.
Yes.
And Oreos, I guess, to a lesser extent. But I would always want to have like 8 or 10 because of the Cookie Monster. I feel like I was just never satisfied with cookies.
Well, speaking of Halloween, okay, and this gets off topic here real quick, but I want Ryan to answer this as well as you, Joe. Now, when you go trick-or-treating, you're probably going to hit a couple houses and go through the motions because it's your kids too. As they get older, obviously you're going to hit more of the neighborhood. But what candy are you hoping that they get in a plethora that you can snack on for the next week?
You know what I like to do, and this is going to sound crazy. I like to put Kit Kats in the freezer.
Yes.
I love Kit Kats, and I like Snickers a little bit too. I will say this: we have an amazing neighborhood, amazing neighbors. Politics plays no deal because I have Harris Wall sign in my neighborhood and I have Trump signs in my neighborhood. But we have the best candy because a lot of our neighbors buy the full-size candy bars, which I love. But at the same time, I hate because now I have kids and I have to buy the full-size candy bars.
Well,
which is not good in this Biden economy.
Do the people that live at the Harris houses, do they give you the candy and make you share it with everybody else? Or are you allowed to eat all your own candy?
No, I think they're just supporting Harris because they probably hate Trump because of our media, and that's who's really to blame. It's not the people, it's the media that tell these high school lies.
Brian, mine is easy, hands down. It's Reese's. I'll eat them till I throw up.
Do you put them in the freezer as well?
They don't have a chance to make it to the freezer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like the little ones? Those little like bite-sized Reese cups?
You know what? I'll do it all. The little, regular, they have the jumbo ones. They also have the bars now, like the fast break. I think it's called. Anything Reese's.
Would you dip a Reese's cup in a peanut butter Jiffy jar and eat it like that?
I don't. I usually don't, but I would. There's no reason I wouldn't.
Let me ask you guys a question. Have you noticed the last 2 years, I feel like I've noticed it a lot, the small, fun-sized candy bars, I feel like they taste different. They're not as good as the full-size candy bars.
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, can I take it this one step further? Not only that, but if you ever go to like a 7-Eleven or Marathon or whatever your convenience store is, and you just, for whatever reason, you're in the mood for like a Twix or a Snickers, and they don't have the normal size. They have the jumbo size. I don't like the jumbo size either. I think those taste different as well. I like the normal full size.
Yeah, I gotta agree. It's like they're messing with the recipe, or whoever's the guy making the mixture. It's off. You know.
You know what?
When you cook for one versus when you cook for two.
It almost feels like, once you get outside of that standard serving size, because I think the same thing about it. I love chicken sandwiches from Wendy's, and when I go to get them, I think, man, I could eat 20 of these, but if I get an extra one, it takes away. It's I have two, but I didn't enjoy it as much. There's a certain serving size for everything that's perfect, and I think what you guys are talking about, that fits with the normal size candy bars.
Well, before I get into my final question for you, Joe, and we'll let you go if you have any sports question as well after that. But so it's more of a statement. Monday night, after my daughter's done with classes down at WVU, I'm picking her up. We're coming all the way back to this side of town. And Tuesday, now she just turned 18 this past June, so this will be the first presidential election she'll ever vote in. We are going to go down to the voting place with my father as well. So there will be the 3 generations of Pasquales voting Tuesday, and then I get to take her back to Morgantown. Now, did you say you're going to vote on Tuesday as well, Joe?
I am waiting on my mail-in ballot. I'm pretty sure it's in the mail today, and I'm either going to turn it in person or mail it in because I don't want any tomfoolery. I have just this funny feeling on Election Day. I don't want lines. I that's why I don't go to Steeler games anymore. I don't like big crowds of people. I get anxiety, and I'm just a miserable person in general. So I'm actually going to possibly vote tonight or tomorrow morning.
Nice. All right. Did you have any, because this is a sports show, which we just totally threw that out the window for the last 13 minutes. Do you have any sports comments?
2 points. I just feel like there's somewhere out there like you that's going to go pick up their daughter from a college to go vote and then drop them off, vote for someone that their only thing is abortion, and then drop them off back at college on Wednesday to go have more abortions. I feel like there's someone out there like that. And the question I had, the sports question, you were playing good cop, bad cop. How about we play old quarterback, young quarterback? I'm going to read you an old quarterback, and you tell me if he's better than the young quarterback. Joe Flacco and Trevor Lawrence.
Joe Flacco is much better than him, and he's going to be the starting quarterback for the Colts the rest of the season, correct?
Yeah, you go down this list, you look at some of the older quarterbacks in the league. I mean, there's a few outliers that are young, but all the young quarterbacks have been benched or set. Kenny Pickett. I mean, just think back. Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young. They're all, except for C.J. Stroud, who's the outlier, they're all kind of terrible.
I think if you put Trevor Lawrence in that Colts offense, I think Trevor Lawrence does fine, actually. I'm going to be honest with you. That Jacksonville Jaguars is a really, really bad team. I totally understand the point, and I totally agree with what you're saying, but Trevor Lawrence, I think he's a lot better than what's given credit for so far in the NFL. If you go back and watch him in college, I mean, he was in the national championship year after year. You know, and these good quarterbacks always go to the worst teams. If he goes to a team that I think has a decent line and some decent weapons, I think that Trevor Lawrence is a lot better.
Joe, this is also the guy that said they should not start Russell Wilson, even though yours truly said they should start him. He's going to get them 2 wins. Ryan was like, no, you don't go with that guy.
That's why we don't vote on a quarterback. We let the dictator decide.
Yes.
Hey, real quick before Joe does take off. Joe, did you happen to see any of this here? The guy that showed up in Pennsylvania. Let's see, he dropped a ton of ballots off in Pennsylvania. He was driving a Rhode Island license plate car. He identified himself as a postal worker. But by the picture I'm seeing, he's obviously not a postal worker. Then there was someone found a box full of ballots and other documents on exit 11 in an intersection in Florida, Cutler Bay, Florida. Another one here just in Minnesota. A van was left wide open with ballot boxes in the back, just for anybody that walks by. And finally, this last one here in Washington, police are searching for the person who set ballot boxes on fire. So, I mean, do we just to say that it's possible that we're going to see foul play in this? It's already starting, Joe, and it's still a week left.
Remember, only one side is allowed to question the results of an election. Number 2, we have to make it so big that they can't even rig it.
That's going to be it.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
Thank you very much. No, go make America great again. Trump 2024. We literally have 6 days and change, 5 days and change.
All right, everyone. Be sure to tune in to Thinking Logically tomorrow from 4 to 5. They are an hour early tomorrow, so be sure to tune in at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too. All right, everyone. We're going to come back and finish up Good Cop, Bad Cop. You've been listening to WBBP 99.3 and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
At Geneva College, your academic experience will prepare you with exceptional expertise in your chosen field. But what you'll learn is so much more than just that. Integrating faith and learning, you'll grow to see God's purpose and calling in your life's work. You'll be challenged to imagine how the world around you could be different and what your part might be in making that difference. You were made to live courageously. Visit geneva.edu today.
You know, I've heard people refer to older veteran athletes as being all washed up. Well, quite frankly, that's a rather nice compliment if you ask me. This is the Aquaman of Beaver County, Jim Riggio from the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority. When you hear something like that, you have to consider the source of the water, that is. After all, getting washed up with Beaver Falls Municipal Authority water can't be a bad thing. That's because for over 80 years, we've made it possible for everyone to feel washed up, even if they are not star athletes. Click bfwater.net.
Looking for a fall activity for your children? Pass and score your way into the Beaver County YMCA's Youth Soccer League. The league will teach the basic fundamentals of soccer. There will be one practice a week teaching drills and skills. This soccer league is for kids ages 5 through 12 and runs from September 10th to October 19th. Registration is already open. To register, go to beavercountyymca.org.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
There's the music. It's always better with the music, Ryan. It's always better. All right, everyone. Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the same part of his studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. Please give us a call. We want to talk about the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 6-2 Steelers. 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. Yeah, we're down here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Give us a call. We want to hear what you have to say about the Steelers so far. I would say halfway through the season, but it's not technically halfway through the season because of the extra game, but halfway through the season, and we have a bye week next week. We were playing good cop, bad cop, whatever. The quarterbacks, really nothing bad to say about them too much. The running back situation, nothing really bad to say about them. The wide receiver, give me all the goods on the wide receivers because I have a lot of negatives about the receivers.
I really wish I was the bad cop on this one because, again, yet Deontay Johnson goes to the Ravens. It's another AFC team that is packing in the receivers so far.
Here's my thing, though. I think if Johnson would go to like a team that had like a Purdy who did his 3 or 5 or 7 step drop and then the ball came out, Lamar Jackson's just not that fundamental quarterback where he does his drops and hits it because Johnson runs a great route.
Yeah.
But Lamar is more like, let's make something else happen, like a Big Ben.
Right.
Where, the route's done. Let's, go to an open spot and I'll try to hit you.
The only thing the way that I want to start this again, it kind of falls more into your area is they bring in Deontay Johnson. Amari Cooper goes to Buffalo. Devontae Adams goes to New York. Kansas City picked up. Who did they pick up? They picked up DeAndre Hopkins. So everybody in the AFC is trying to beef up their receiving core. And here we are. We still don't have what one would consider a solid number 2. I mean, you could say Van Jefferson, but just until last game, he only had 10 catches through the first 7 games of the season. That's not a number 2. Just until last game, Calvin Austin really blew the top off the place. Through the first 7 games, not as much. So why everybody's going out and getting that, trying to solidify their offense with that number 2, we're still without a number 2 in general. So as far as the receivers go, I think that gives you pretty much my opinion on things. I think George Pickens is going to be George Pickens, but I think you need somebody that's in between a George Pickens and what else that we have, because those guys are 3s and 4s on any team. I don't care. Come on. You got to get a number 2, a solid number 2 in there, and we just don't have it. We don't possess it on our team. If we get one here in the next 5 days, I'll be excited. But that's the question, Brian. Are we going to make a move for the trade deadline on Tuesday?
No. Why would we?
That, in my opinion, is terrible. What's the thought process here? Especially because everybody else is beefing up their receiving core. We still have yet to address number 2 receiver.
See, I think differently here, and I guess I'm playing good cop on this one. So a little reverse role play here, not in the triple X manner, but the quarterback dictates how good a second and third or fourth option are, I think. If you had Big Ben out there, I guarantee Van Jefferson would probably have, twice as much production. And
But
you've
we're
seen
not-
it these past couple games.
That's not going to happen anytime soon, is it? Ben's not coming back, is he?
But Russell Wilson has really upped the ante.
Absolutely. No two ways about it.
And so now that you have a guy that's going to go through his progressions and hit that third, because Van Jefferson's your third or fourth target a lot of times. You've got Pat Freiermuth and George Pickens, Najee Harris. Those are probably your top three quarterbacks on every passing options on every play. So Van Jefferson's number 4. If you got a Justin Fields who doesn't see the field, or you have, what we had Pickett last year. The number 2, the number 3 receiver, they're not going to do well. Same with Trubisky. They're not going to do well. Same with Duck Hodges. They're not going to do well. But when you have a Ben, you double A, B, all right, Van Jefferson's is open underneath. I know we're talking about different eras, but you get my point.
So let me ask you this. You would rather have a Van Jefferson as your number 2 than a Amari Cooper, than a Devontae Adams, than a Cooper Kupp, any of these guys that would fall into a category of being a much better receiver. You feel that Van Jefferson with the right quarterback can give the same results as these guys who are proven receivers in the league if they have a better quarterback, in this case, Russell Wilson.
Yes. And here's what I'm saying. You said earlier in the show, you think the Pittsburgh Steelers can win a playoff game.
Yes.
So that to me sounds like they're not a contender for the Super Bowl. So who cares if you have Van Jefferson or Devontae Adams?
That makes the difference. If you had a Cooper Kupp to this team.
If that made the difference, then they would get him.
Why?
There's no way that's going to make the difference.
So you're saying that Van Jefferson and Cooper Kupp are in the same ballpark as long as you have Russell Wilson under center. I disagree with that.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying one doesn't take you from being a potential playoff possible winning team to a Super Bowl team.
For one, I've never mentioned the word Super Bowl at all.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're saying that the Steelers could win a playoff game.
I think they could.
Now, if they get another wide receiver,
yes,
they could. What?
They could win more.
I don't think so.
You don't think they could? Listen, I think
they could win the Super Bowl.
You literally
or
just said
Super
that
Bowl.
I said that they would possibly be able to win a Super Bowl game.
No. You said that they would possibly win a playoff game.
Or a playoff game. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying. And yes, I think they could possibly. I think if you get that other receiver, that certainly solidifies their chances of winning that and possibly another one. Yes, I've never thrown the word Super Bowl around. Again,
I did.
You're right.
Because it's not even a thought in your head, no matter who we get. So,
but
me,
that's 99% of the teams, Brian. You could say that about every team in the league at this point. This team probably isn't going to win a Super Bowl, and the fact only one team wins. So yes, of course you're playing the average angle.
I didn't
here.
say win it. I say have a potential to win it.
How many teams right now do you think have a potential to win the Super Bowl in this league?
I don't know, 6.
Who could you name them?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions,
yes,
the Kansas City Chiefs,
of course,
the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, maybe the Texans, and I don't know who else could get hot out there in the NFC. I don't know. There's got to be another.
I think 2 of those teams that you named are potentially Super Bowl
winners.
What
do you mean? There's only 2 teams going to make it, like San Francisco. I know they've been hurt.
Listen, Detroit is the best team in the NFC, and by default, I think Kansas City is the best team in the AFC. The NFL is going to make that happen for whatever reason they're doing that. But come on, these other teams, Buffalo has never not choked. They've never in their franchise have never not choked. That team has choked every single opportunity away. By saying that means they've never won a Super Bowl.
Packers.
The Packers, where are they at? They're falling. They're
6-2.
They're in a division they have to beat out who? Another Super Bowl contending team, the Minnesota Vikings, who I disagree with 100%.
And the Lions.
The Lions, yes. The Lions are the team in the NFC. And then I would say the Kansas City, which I don't
the
want.
Commanders.
No.
There's a lot of teams that can win it.
Listen, you're saying the Commanders out of nowhere could win a Super Bowl, but a team like the Steelers and these other teams can't. I don't see.
The Pittsburgh Steelers give up 45 points per game in the playoffs. I don't care what wide receiver you bring in. That's not going to get them over the hump. That's my point. So
you have to score more points than the other team. What does that bringing in better receivers?
Why would I give up my future next year if I'm trying to build with this team and take another step next year where maybe we can get to the AFC Championship game versus just maybe winning a playoff game? I don't want to give up any picks, and I don't want to. And I don't want to suck $30 million into somebody next year because we're going to pay Cam Hayward
with winning
again.
a playoff game. People are jumping to the Super Bowl from not winning a playoff game in 8 years. All I'm saying, let's get to the playoffs first. Let's win that first game, and then we'll talk. We'll see where we sit. We'll see where we land. Right now, I can't say that this team is going to win the Super Bowl because, again, we haven't won a playoff game in almost a decade. You got to win that first one first, and that's kind of where I'm at.
All right. So my point was, and I think you missed my point completely. My point was that one wide receiver, I don't care how good they are, does not get the Steelers over the hump.
So these other teams bringing in these big number twos aren't that means nothing.
What did they give up to get him?
The Ravens are not going to be any better. They brought in a guy. The Chiefs aren't going to be any better. They brought
Lamar
in Hopkins.
Jackson's a running back playing quarterback. They're not going to be any better.
The Chiefs aren't going to be any
because of that.
better because they brought in a Hopkins. The
Chiefs will be better.
The Buffalo Bills aren't going to be any better because they
Chiefs
brought
are
in
going for a three-peat.
Amari Cooper. They're not going to be any better. That's what I'm saying. You become better by default by bringing that guy in.
The Bills have only lost to the best teams in the league. I think they lost to the
Bills
Chiefs
literally have
3
lost
times
to
out of the last.
everybody in the history of their team. They've never ever
But
not
the
choked.
only team the Bills have lost to in the past 4 playoffs have been the Bengals once and the Chiefs 3 times. It's not like they're losing to Blake Bortles or whoever we
They
lost
never
to.
won anything.
And it's not like they lost to Baker Mayfield. Who else did we lose to?
How good was that NFC Eagles team that went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row in the early 2000s? Guess what? They didn't win a single game. Nobody's ever going to remember the fact that they went to that many games in Super Bowls.
Andy
NFC
Reid,
championships in a row.
Donovan McNabb. I remember it all. T.O. still has a B.O.
How many Super Bowls did they go to? That they went to 4 straight NFC games.
1 Super Bowl against the New England Patriots.
And they should have won that game.
They lost by 3. Everybody loses by 3 to New England.
Ain't that right?
All right. Well, listen, we're going to get into more Steelers talk when we come back. You guys have been listening to WBBP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
This is Andy Toole, men's basketball coach at Robert Morris University, here to talk about my friends at Falcone Moon Township Ford. I know what it takes to win a basketball game. It begins with practice and a team of players who want to win. The same is true of the team at Moon Township Ford. Professionals who will win you over. They'll find the best rate and terms on a car loan to help you get the best deal. Make a fast break and avoid the roadblocks that stop you from finding the car you want. Go where I go. Moon Township Ford.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
If you like stuffing, this is your favorite time of the year. This is Cindy Haladio from Friendly Federal Credit Union. I like stuffing too, especially when it comes to stuffing your wallet with cash. Forget the fancy Thanksgiving recipes. I suggest a visit to Friendly Federal Credit Union. Apply for a holiday loan today to stuff your pocketbook before holiday shopping. Based on credit approval, Friendly Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, equal housing lender.
If your group or organization wants to look like a winner, upgrade your public message, signs, banners, vehicle wraps, and lettering, and other branding platforms with a makeover from Signs Made Fast. Wherever there are people, you need a sign, and it needs to look good. An old, faded, outdated logo or weathered sign on the front of your business damages your good reputation. Turn it around today. Create the perception of a winner. Visit signsmadefast.us or call 724-774-8267.
When you talk about community involvement and safety, the name Fry stands at the forefront in Beaver County. Fry Transportation's mission is to continue to raise the bar as the gold standard in their industry by providing the safest, most reliable, and cost-efficient transportation service in Beaver County through their strong relationships with their communities, best-in-their-class drivers, equipment, and technology. There's nothing more important than the safety of their students, employees, and community members. Fry Transportation, where the quality of their organization is characterized by the makeup of the individual behind the wheel.
This is Mitch Carver from Carver Construction. Playing a great football game takes teamwork, great leaders, and great individuals. As a former high school football coach myself, I know what it takes to win. I apply these same qualities to Carver Construction in New Brighton. Satisfying customers isn't anything new at Carver. We've been doing it since 1982 for both residential and commercial renovations. I'm behind every job we do, so I can guarantee you that every time you deal with us, you win. Call us or visit us at our website at carverconstructionpa.com.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. If you'd like to chime in today, please give us a call at 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. The Steelers are 6-2. They've beaten no one. They've lost to 2 mediocre teams. Moving forward, they do have the Browns twice, the Bengals twice, the Ravens twice, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, and up next is the Washington Redskins, a.k.a. the Washington Commanders. This week, they have a bye week. Ryan, what about the injuries? Let's talk about the injuries because we're going to finish good cop, bad cop here in a little bit. But I want to get into the injuries here because most people are probably just getting off of work. They're probably thinking about who they're going to vote for next week. They're probably turning off all the commercials for who they're being told to vote for. But they're thinking, the Steelers, can they do well in the second half? And one of the keys is staying healthy.
Absolutely. I think that ultimately what it boils down to, and that's just, again, not with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that's across the board. Whoever can stay healthy maybe has the best chance. I don't know. But, yeah, there's a few things that are happening during the bye week. Getting healthy, obviously, is the top priority. But then you get Cam Sutton, who has been reinstated off his 8-game suspension. He comes back. He's obviously a starter. He was a starter up in Detroit, had a pretty good year last year, had some more unfortunate things go down, and he dealt with the suspension. So that is over. I think that's big coming back. Maybe this offensive line, we don't know how much longer the Zach Frazier injury is going to linger on. And there's a few others across the board as well. I can't wait for Corey Trice to get back, the DB. So, yeah, the healthier we could get during this 2 weeks is the better it's going to be for us. Again, though.
What about Herbig, our outside linebacker, or backup outside linebacker?
Absolutely. All these guys. Anybody that's, within a few weeks of being
And even if they're not starters, like a lot of these people are getting a lot of playing time regardless if they're a starter, but they're out there. So now instead of one of these guys, you're looking at a practice squad guy getting some playing time out there. Now, who was the left tackle to play the one play? What was
Calvin Anderson, yeah.
Okay. I'm like, Calvin Anderson's in there. It's 3rd and goal.
Yeah.
As that was? 3rd and goal. What play should I do? I've got the halfback lined up on the left side, right behind the left tackle.
Yeah.
Would you think that I would maybe send the tight end in motion to go over and help out the left tackle for the one play that he's in?
Yeah, for the guy that we pulled up from the practice squad.
Or maybe the halfback goes in and helps and you say push him to the outside and the halfback knows he's going to the outside and you kind of go and you give him a hit and then maybe you go out into the flat.
Right.
No. What does Mike Tomlin and the Steelers do? They leave Anderson out there to get embarrassed and give up a sack with what was 3rd and goal.
What I don't understand is this, Brian.
What was that play call?
I don't know why they're listen, if you're an NFL fan and you've seen what happened to the Seahawks in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, where Marshawn Lynch ran the ball down the field. He was a beast, a monster. Look at this guy. Nobody can stop him. They get down inside the red zone and they start throwing the ball to Russell Wilson. And what happens in that game? He throws an interception. Game over. New England wins another Super Bowl. Why we stick with that formula? Again, you have Najee Harris who's been running. Come on. He's been running better in these past couple weeks than he has. And again, he's had a pretty good career so far. The guy's running his butt off. Why you don't continue to run him once you get down inside the 5-yard line? At least a couple tries. They go straight to the pass, straight to the air. You're creating so many other opportunities that could go wrong. Why they continue to do that, I'll never know. But yes, to answer your question, how are you going to leave Calvin Anderson?
Here's my other question. If you're a backup tackle, okay, you're probably okay if they call a run play.
Right.
Go in and just get a body on your guy and, let the running back decide if he's going behind you. He's probably not. He's going to somewhere else anyway. Why do you call the pass play and let him cover the guy one-on-one? He's not, like, I don't know, was he like even warming up on the sideline? Like he's cold.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's cold. So that boom, snap, those first 2 steps, guaranteed he's going to be late, and of course we give up the sack.
Absolutely.
Terrible call there.
It wasn't smart. No, you're right. Yeah, I mean, you got to put those things into consideration every single play. That's why, again, you get paid the big money to make the decisions.
Now, I read something somewhere before we get into good cop, bad cop. I think we're going to wait till next segment to go back into that. But I saw something stupid. 5 Steelers that could be traded before the deadline.
Okay.
Listen to these stupid names. There's only one guy that I would even consider trading on this list. Calvin Austin III. Did he not just have 2 touchdowns, one in the special team? So he's helping you out not only as your 3rd wide receiver, but he's also your punt return guy. By the way, there was 2 penalties on that play that were not called by the Steelers. There was running into the punter. They didn't call it. He totally hit the punter. And then 2, it wouldn't have mattered because he was already past the hold, but there was a holding towards the very end. And, he was already 5 yards past the hole, but there was a block in the back. I'm sorry. So there was the running into the punter and the block in the back. I watched that play at least 10 times. And so we got away with one there. Cole Holcomb, I'm okay if they trade him, but who wants him and what are they going to give you? Nothing.
Yeah.
So why not have some depth, right?
He hasn't played a down this season, has he?
Right. No. Van Jefferson, I'm sure Ryan wants to get rid of him. Ryan wants to get rid of him and Cam Hayward, send them in a package somewhere.
Absolutely.
And give me back a 6-pack of your favorite beer. KZ, why would we get rid of KZ?
Again, another depth guy that.
Right. He's your third safety,
Right.
He's a starter when somebody's down.
I think if you would have brought back Terrell Edmonds, then that wouldn't be in there. But I think now you have an abundance of safeties.
Yeah. Justin Fields. Why would you have the best backup quarterback in the league, a 37-year-old quarterback, and then get rid of him? Meanwhile, he cost you $3 million or something.
Those things, none of those things are going to happen.
It was dumb. I was like, why did I even read this? Why did I even open
the
it
article
up?
that you're talking about, and I didn't read it, but I knew where it was
I'm glad
going.
you didn't.
And none of those are going to happen. And unless, again, we try to put some kind of package together to pull in a Cooper Kupp or somebody like that, you're not going to see any of those guys leave. And I don't want to see Calvin Austin. Don't get me wrong, is what I was saying before about a number 2 receiver doesn't take down how I feel about Calvin. I think I've always thought Calvin Austin had a potential to be a playmaker. But I don't think you're going to see any of those guys move. I really don't.
All right, let's get into the game here real quick because what's wrong with Mike Tomlin? How uneducated is he?
I think he's an educated person.
I disagree. Now, let's just say over the years, 17 years, this is 17 seasons?
Yeah.
So for 16 plus seasons, you haven't got a challenge right in 16 plus seasons. Why wouldn't you pay someone to tell you when and what to challenge or not challenge, especially when you're challenging something that's automatically reviewed and you take the penalty? Not only does he get it wrong, but he challenges something that you can't even challenge and gets a penalty on it. Why is he so dumb when it comes to this?
And they took the penalty, or they took the timeout from us as well.
Oh, yeah, it was everything.
What are you doing? For one, you got to know what you're doing, right? You got to know if you have challenges left.
That's why so you're into the game and you're so totally focused on the game. Pay somebody.
Yeah.
Just pay somebody. That's their job. Some nerd graduated from MIT. He knows all the stupid rules. He could see it on the screen if it's close enough, or depending on the odds. Okay, is it fourth quarter? Is it first quarter? Blah 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 blah.
Does this all fall into that category, Bryan? Of some people say that Mike Tomlin, he just doesn't want anybody to appear to be smarter than he is. When a lot of times.
How hard is that though? Because I don't think Mike Tomlin's very smart.
Because
I've heard
a lot of times
I've heard
they
him
go to
speak
hire
so many times that he's never been intelligent.
There's been good, options that came up, and they always go with the lesser. They bring in the R.D. Smith, or they bring in the Matt Canada, or it seems like that, and that's the theory. He doesn't want anybody in there that's smarter than him.
Can I break away from the Steelers real quick here?
Sure.
Because we're talking about not smart people. Did you see the play out in right field at Yankee Stadium? Okay, so here's what happens. Somebody hits a home run, and the Dodgers guy catches it at the wall almost, right?
Right.
And the two fans, one grabs his glove, opens up his glove, and rips the ball out, while the other fan grabs his arm that is going to get the ball out of the glove, the player's arm. Supposedly, these are Rob Gronkowski's buddies from college.
Really?
Yes.
Now, this is it. It was in L.A. or was it in New York?
This is in New York.
In New York.
This was last night.
Okay. No, I did not see this.
It's supposedly now when we speak of big dummies, I don't think there's anybody dumber than Gronkowski. I mean, how does he have commercial deals? He reminds me, and if I know some of our fans here are older, in 74, Rocky 2 came out. And the whole premise was Rocky, went the distance, whatever, and he needed to feed his family, so he needed a job. And his wife didn't want him to box anymore because, that gives you brain damage. So he decided to do some commercials. And Rocky, he was never formally educated or whatever, and he couldn't read. So he got fired from the commercials because he couldn't read, and it was very embarrassing. And then over the course of the rest of the movie, he takes reading lessons and learns how to read or whatever. I think Gronkowski can't read. He reminds me of Rocky in these commercials. He's so dumb.
He comes off as that, but I don't know. It's hard to say, man. I don't know.
All right. Well, so 2 feet in. My buddy Dan Neely, he joins the show very often here.
Yes.
And he sends me a text that says, wait a minute. So you're saying, Brian, if I have one leg, I can't play wide receiver in the NFL?
That's my argument.
And I'm like, absolutely. I guarantee they make a new rule that 2 touches of the same foot is the same as a calf, a knee, an elbow, or 2 feet in. And
it should be, again, maybe you...
Imagine that. You have one leg.
Maybe you're injured. Or say you get injured on a play. Somebody, you collide and your knee gets messed up or whatever, and you go and you hobble one step, you catch a ball.
Yeah, your right ankle's like broken
and
or
you
sprained.
jump up and down 3 times on 1 foot, and then you kind of just
go out of bounds. And you run 5 yards on 1 foot.
That's
and
not a touchdown.
You're still not in.
It's obviously possession in the end zone.
If you get in the end zone, you're good. But if you catch it in the end zone, you're not good.
You're right.
So if he 2-toe taps in the field of play and falls into the end zone, he's good.
Yes.
But if he does that in the end zone and falls, like, the NFL is not very smart. There's this skit that I've been watching. I want to send it to you. It's Saturday Night Live, which Saturday Night Live hasn't been funny in 20-some years. But there's this skit where, the troops for the American Revolution, they're down and out, and George Washington comes in and he really peps them up. And he's like, we're going to have a nation. And it's a bunch of funny stuff. And it's like, we're going to use a random system for measurements, not like kilometers and centimeters. No. We're going to use yards and inches. And it's very funny. That's like the NFL. They use like these odd random things to determine what a catch is and what isn't. Remember, you used to have to like fall and roll around on the ground for 5 minutes. And if the ball came loose, they called it not a catch.
Right. You're right. I mean, 1 foot down and 1 elbow equals 2 feet, and 1 this and 1 that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But you know what? That ultimately, you're going to have to answer that one question before you can continue on with whatever it is that your resolution is. Because of course, you don't see any people with one leg playing football.
Right.
But again, it is 2 feet
there's
down.
There's the Americans with Disability Act. I mean,
it is 2 feet down. And guess what? George Pickens had 2 feet down.
And I don't think Pickens didn't know the rule because he was like, challenge it. I got my foot down twice. He could have very easily just put his left foot down. Not on the initial part of the catch, but as he was falling back, he could have put it down. And I think he just thought, like, if I put my right foot down twice, that's good, because he didn't even try to put his left foot down.
Right.
All right, everyone, we're going to play Good Cop, Bad Cop when we come back. You've been listening to WBBP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
When you talk about community involvement and safety, the name Fry stands at the forefront in Beaver County. Fry Transportation's mission is to continue to raise the bar as the gold standard in their industry by providing the safest, most reliable, and cost-efficient transportation service in Beaver County through their strong relationships with their community's best-in-their-class drivers, equipment, and technology. There's nothing more important than the safety of their students, employees, and community members. Fry Transportation, where the quality of their organization is characterized by the makeup of the individual behind the wheel.
Make your dream of a college degree a reality at Community College of Beaver County. CCBC offers 10 pathways to success, including health sciences, criminal justice, industrial technology, business, and more. Start at CCBC and finish your career or get transfer ready, all at a realistic cost. Enroll today, ccbc.edu. In revolutionary times, to be a patriot meant devoting oneself to the greater good and serving one's country in order to preserve the quality of life for everyone. Being a patriot can still bring great rewards in much the same way when you engage with Patriot Home Care in the Beaver Falls area. It can happen as an in-home care and general assistance provider for your loved one, or as a place for you to serve others as a Patriot Home Care employee. Do the patriotic thing today. Call Patriot Home Care, 724-506-8911. Let's all join together to serve the community. Airtime provided by Beaver Area Heritage Foundation.
If you like stuffing, this is your favorite time of the year. This is Cindy Haladio from Friendly Federal Credit Union. I like stuffing too, especially when it comes to stuffing your wallet with cash. Forget the fancy Thanksgiving recipes. I suggest a visit to Friendly Federal Credit Union. Apply for a holiday loan today to stuff your pocketbook before holiday shopping. Based on credit approval, Friendly Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, equal housing lender.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. You can check him out alongside co-host Mike Mueller every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. till noon on YouTube. Search Two Dumb Yinzers. That's D-U-M. Two Dumb Yinzers. They talk Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, and much, much more. Also, make sure you check us out here on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. If you'd like to chime in today, please give us a call at 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. We are going to get into the defensive side of good cop, bad cop. We played the offensive side a couple segments ago. We are going to work down the defensive line, Ryan. You are going to tell me all the positive about the defensive line.
The positives
and
about
there you
the
go. All right,
line.
now on to the negative.
On to the negative. Now, listen, they're not terrible. I think you have an aged Cam Hayward who I think you could have taken that money and brought in a younger guy. People are going to say, well, he is one of the best. This is my argument, Brian. When you watch the games, I don't recall if it was this last game, but about 2 or 3 games prior, when they do the pre-game introductions, they show the guys' faces. They say, hi, I'm Cam Hayward. Yada, yada, yada. And underneath the players' faces, it has where they rank their position in the league. Now, Cam,
it's just like PFF rank garbage.
It basically is. So as you're watching the game and you're watching the pregame, and Cam Hayward's coming out, it says 1 out of 114 or whatever the number is. Number one. Keep this in mind. Now, go to the team that we just played. Look at Dexter Lawrence. Did you happen to see that young man throwing people around like they were children? The way he was in the backfield disrupting every pass play, Cam Hayward, at this point in his career, is not even in the same ballpark as Dexter Lawrence. And that's just one guy. I'm not even mentioning the Jalen Carters out of Philadelphia and these other young defensive tackles in the league. So for one, I think that Cam, come on, he's an older man. You want somebody in there who's going to make plays and create issues. He's just not doing that. Yes, he is making plays, but come on, from what it is that you want to see out of that position. So for one, Cam, I think he's a little bit over the hill. I know everybody loves him. He is a fan favorite. People in Pittsburgh love the guy. And you know what? I understand that. Keanu Benton, I think he has great potential. I really do. I think
he does make a big play, or he blows a couple plays up here and there, but
you'd like to see it a little bit.
More often.
A little bit more.
Yes, that's my negative on Keanu Benton, because I think he's our best defensive lineman by far.
Yes.
I just think it's the second year. Is it going to take him 4 or 5 years to be consistently making plays like that? But yeah, he just doesn't show up for like 10, 12 plays in a row, and then boom, all of a sudden you're like, damn, nice play, Keanu.
Right. And kind of going back to Cam as well, if you want to win some playoff games, you got to do a little bit more than what Cam is doing on the defensive line. Again, just my opinion. And to go to the...
Cam has a playoff win. Do you know who he beat?
The Bengals. 2015.
Wasn't it when the Bengals perfect and who was their quarterback?
Yes, it was that game.
They took those personal fouls and gave us the field goal to win it.
Pac-Man Jones
That's
and
who
perfect.
It was, yeah. It was like, here's 30 yards free.
And then finally, Ogunjobi. Now, listen, I like Ogunjobi, and the reason that I mention him last is because you don't hear his name a lot, and sometimes that's not a bad thing. There's not a lot of times where he's messing up and things are happening and penalties and this and that. I think that he's a solid defensive tackle. Can we do better? Yes. Can we do younger? Yes. And should we eventually? Yes. But, he is what he is. He's solid. And that's what I give this defensive line. If I had to use one word to describe them, Brian, they're solid. I don't think they're scary. I don't think that they wreak havoc. They're solid. And so far, it seems to be good enough for what it is that we have done to this point.
All right. I'm going to get into my bad cop part about that when we come back to a different position. But let's skip over to the defensive backs. We have lots of cornerbacks. We have lots of safeties.
Yes.
Micah Fitzpatrick hasn't been what he was when he first came over to the team. That's my biggest complaint. He's my favorite Steeler. I don't know what he's doing, or if just maybe the defensive backs are that much better that he doesn't need to be noticed as much. Elliott, he got burnt on a play, but he also makes the plays. He's very good against the run, which we need that. Joey Porter Jr., I think he fouls every guy on every play, but he gets away with it, so I'm fine with it. Deontay Jackson, he's doing a fair job, and our worst defensive back is Beanie Bishop, and somehow, some way, he has 3 interceptions in the last 2 games, so what can he say? He might get burnt here and there because I think he's just outclassed a little bit. I don't think he's, definitely like an NFL starter caliber player, but he does have his moments.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, you when you think of drafting a DB, you look for the top guys. You look for guys who are on the top of the board. Beanie is undrafted. For one, he's an undrafted rookie.
Where did he play college?
Some mountains country school. I don't know where, West Virginia. But you know what? For what he is, I think obviously we're getting our bang for the buck with him. He's got 3 interceptions, as you said, in the last 2 games. We'll take that. Again, you add Cam Sutton back into the mix, who was a starter for Detroit last year on a pretty good team, a starter for us prior to that. Joey Porter, I still think he's a project. He's a work in process, but you know what? He is good. He doesn't, for whatever reason, get those calls on him. He manages to play decent. And again, that room of safeties, you have an abundance. You got KZ, you have Fitzpatrick, you have Elliott, you have Terrell Edmonds is back. I think we have as strong as a defensive backfield as we had in a long time.
I agree.
But this Minkah Fitzpatrick, I don't know what his deal is. Of course, when he first came here, it seemed like every play he was doing something to make a difference in the game, either closing the game, sealing the game with an interception, all the way down the line to creating
making
fumbles.
Every tackle every game, too. I mean, he was making 8, 11 tackles a game, and now it's like...
But I think you did nail it on the head. This defensive backfield is a lot better this year than it's been in a while, and I think that certainly plays a part of, because who is the guy that is now the best run stopper in our secondary? It's Deshaun Elliott.
Yeah.
So, that takes a little bit away from what Minkah Fitzpatrick has to do. So, maybe him just kind of being the supervisor back there. And one more thing about Fitzpatrick, we may not have won that game if he wouldn't have made that hit on the sideline, made the guy drop the ball this past week. He
should have thrown a good 2.5 seconds earlier. He was wide open, and Fitzpatrick just made a beat on that ball and just smeared him.
You figured he doesn't make that play. He's not there. The guy gained so many yards. We only won by, a touchdown.
8.
So that could have been the difference in that game. So he did, in fact, make that particular play. But I agree with you 100%. You're not seeing it anywhere nearly as much as you've seen it in his early tenure here at Pittsburgh.
All right, let's move to middle linebackers. And specifically, I want to talk about Roberts in the run game. I want to talk about, what's the dude we got from Baltimore?
Queen.
Patrick Queen. I don't know why I was forgetting his name. Patrick Queen's overall play, and then Wilson's play in the passing game, flying all over the field. What do you like out of those 3?
What I like the most out of those 3 is Landon Roberts. I think he's just so consistent. I think he has such a head for the position. He always seems to be right in the right places at the right times. Patrick Queen, a little bit more. I'd like to see a little bit more from him, just in general overall. And Peyton Wilson, he's another one that he has it upstairs. From the neck up, you could tell he's in the same category as somebody like an Landon Roberts, and eventually will be down the road when he's in the league for more than a half a season. But if he steps up his game another half a notch, I think he becomes phenomenal, because he is all over the place. Sometimes he just seems to be lagging a little bit, and he comes in later and makes the tackle, or makes a tackle downfield when it could have been made upfield, or things like that. But you know what? You got to feel good about the inside linebackers. With the exception of Patrick Queen, again, I expected a little bit more out of him.
I think he's been playing much better these past few weeks. I think he stunk to begin with. Wilson, I think he does a great job. I think he is overall probably our most athletic linebacker. And then you said Roberts. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. If we win that Dallas game, it's all because of that hit that he put on. Like who didn't recover the fumble? So he comes up, lays the hit on, and a Cowboy went for it. One of I don't know who it was. We were like a split second too late. If we recover that, we win that game, and we're 7-1, but we're not. last but least, the favorite position of the Pittsburgh Steelers over the last 40-some years, outside linebacker. What do you like from our linebackers?
You know what? They're as solid as can be. As far as Alex Highsmith, I think you and I were even texting briefly during the game, and Highsmith understood his assignment. The guy was in the face of Daniel Jones all evening long. He did manage to get a couple sacks. He managed to make some tackles. He was a very solid outside linebacker. And then on the other side, I think that this can be a debate till the end of time because as a good call, I will say that T.J. Watt did lead the team with tackles. He had 5 tackles, 2 assisted tackles. He also had 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery, where somebody on the other side of the fence might say, well, you know what, I want to see more consistent play, not just one big play in the game by T.J. Watt. I want to see him be more consistently dominant, which I think he technically is. I think we're pretty much splitting hairs at this point, but I'm happy. Also with a guy like Nick Herbig, of course, you want to see him back in the lineup. He was such an impact player before he got hurt.
We really need him whenever Watt or Highsmith are getting a rest, especially on passing downs. We really need to see him back.
But
in the
I would
lineup.
certainly give these guys a passing grade. There's no reason they don't get a passing grade.
All right. Whenever we come back, we're going to talk about some more Steelers. We're going to talk about a little bit of Major League Baseball playoffs. We might even be talking about a little bit of college football. You guys have been listening to WBBP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
And making the team is easy at Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Training camp is starting, and you are invited. This is Coach Andy Dangle, and I'm looking for new teammates. Membership is open to many organizations and groups throughout the county. Join my team at Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Details and applications are available now. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union today. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
When you talk about community involvement and safety, the name Fry stands at the forefront in Beaver County. Fry Transportation's mission is to continue to raise the bar as the gold standard in their industry by providing the safest, most reliable, and cost-efficient transportation service in Beaver County through their strong relationships with their communities, best-in-their-class drivers, equipment, and technology. There's nothing more important than the safety of their students, employees, and community members. Fry Transportation, where the quality of their organization is characterized by the makeup of the individual behind the wheel.
This is Andy Toole, men's basketball coach at Robert Morris University, here to talk about my friends at Falcone Moon Township Ford. I know what it takes to win a basketball game. It begins with practice and a team of players who want to win. The same is true of the team at Moon Township Ford. Professionals who will win you over. They'll find the best rate and terms on a car loan to help you get the best deal. Make a fast break and avoid the roadblocks that stop you from finding the car you want. Go where I go. Moon Township Ford.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
At Geneva College, your academic experience will prepare you with exceptional expertise in your chosen field. But what you'll learn is so much more than just that. Integrating faith and learning, you'll grow to see God's purpose and calling in your life's work. You'll be challenged to imagine how the world around you could be different and what your part might be in making that difference. You were made to live courageously. Visit geneva.edu today.
Make your dream of a college degree a reality at Community College of Beaver County. CCBC offers 10 pathways to success, including health sciences, criminal justice, industrial technology, business, and more. Start at CCBC and finish your career or get transfer ready, all at a realistic cost. Enroll today, ccbc.edu.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. Make sure you get over to my X account, formerly known as Twitter, OMO on Sports, One Man's Opinion on Sports. Or check me out on YouTube. I do upload videos, long format, and the shorts on there. So go over to One Man's Opinion on Sports. Make sure you subscribe. Or One Man's Opinion on Sports #shorts, and subscribe to that channel as well. There's going to be tons of videos coming up over the next couple weeks, so make sure you get over there and subscribe. Don't miss out on those. Saturday, three things are colliding at what do they call? What's the stadium up there? Beaver Stadium.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Big game.
Three things are colliding. Penn State, Ohio State, and the one and the only Donald Trump will be there.
Is he really going to be up there?
Yes, he is.
You know what? This is a really exciting game, and I always feel it is exciting. But you know what? This year I find it really exciting because I feel that Ohio State just isn't what they usually are. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Penn State's that fantastic either, but I think this should be a good game because I don't think that Ohio State is going to dominate. If Ohio State wins, I don't think that it's going to be dominant.
Let me ask this. Penn State's ranked third.
Yes.
Ohio State's ranked fourth.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they seem more like 15 to 20s?
Mm-hmm.
They don't seem like 3s and 4s. Like they could beat by I think Oregon comes in and they would wax both teams by 3 touchdowns.
Penn State, I mean, you talked earlier about the Steelers not playing anybody. Penn State really is not playing anybody. They have had a very, very easy schedule to this point. And people, when we talk about Pitt, they're like, well, they haven't beat anybody. This is why they're not moving up as much as you think they should. Penn State is
What's Pitt ranked?
They're 18.
18, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
They need to get to 12.
But the Penn State, come on. I mean, this team has not played good football all year. Every game they've been in has been close. And they have not played I don't think they've played a quality team yet. Yet they moved up to number 3 pretty quick.
So one of those teams is likely to move way down.
They'll move down.
If it's a close game, maybe it goes to overtime or something, then they might just fall to still single digits.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's tough. If Ohio State loses and they have 2 losses, how do you have them in the top 10? That'd be my question.
Because they're Ohio State. They're just like any other team like that. They have 2 losses. They're still going to hang around. Alabama, because I think they have 2 losses. They're still somewhere.
I hate rankings.
I know. It's opinion, basically. And that's what separates college from all the rest of the sports where the numbers actually matter and the numbers mean something. A lot of times at the end of the day, it's popularity.
What's going on here Saturday? What Pitt plays who? What's going on? Give everybody the details.
Big game. Pitt versus SMU. It's going to be down in Dallas. SMU's number 20. Pitt's
Is
number.
Is that in Bryan, Texas?
Dallas.
Is that where Texas A&M plays? It's Bryan.
I'm not
Bryan,
sure.
Texas. Hold on. You tell everybody about the Pitt game.
Yes.
I'm going to look this up.
And they play Saturday evening. It's really cool because Penn State and Ohio State, they play noon. In the Pitt and SMU game is the evening game, which is pretty cool because that's where they put the better teams usually. But anyway, besides the point, the one issue that we do have going into the game, we don't know if Eli Holstein, the Pitt starting quarterback, will be playing. There was an injury near the end of last game. Narduzzi's keeping it close to the chest, and he's saying, guys, we don't know if he's going to be starting. We don't know if he's going to be playing. We're going to work out our second-string quarterback. So SMU comes back, Bryan, yesterday, saying we don't know if our quarterback is going to play either. So there's gamemanship. There's head games going on in this game. This should, in theory, be a good game. SMU is about an 8-point favorite at home. They beat Duke in overtime this past weekend, and of course Pitt won last Thursday in a convincing fashion over Syracuse. I think this should be a great game, and I sure hope that Pitt could end up 8-0 after this weekend.
Yes, Bryan, Texas, Bryan College Station. That is where Texas A&M plays.
Okay.
Bryan.
Does that have anything to do with the SMU or
no,
okay.
Not at all. Somebody said to me that I said my name today and I spelled it and somebody was like, oh, like Texas, and I'm like, huh?
I thought of like Brian Shrimp.
Who's Brian Shrimp? That's Detlef Shrimp. That's who you're thinking of, Detlef Shrimp.
Like the food, like shrimp, like Brian Shrimp.
What's a Brian Shrimp?
I don't know. But anyway, Pitt, SMU Saturday night should be an amazing game. I hope you know what, Pitt's got a pretty good team. If you watched the game last week.
Is SMU any good?
Yeah, they're number 20. They're right behind us, basically. They do have the one loss so far this season. I think this should be an excellent game. Pitt's defense was firing on all cylinders last week against a 5-1 Syracuse team. Kyle McCord was supposed to dominate us. 5 interceptions he threw against Pitt. He threw 6 through the first 6 games of the season.
How many for touchdowns?
McCord? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
3.
And 5 interceptions. 3 of those, he had as many pick sixes as he has touchdowns thrown. Any way you slice it, we beat the pants off of Syracuse 41-13. I think that this should be a good game. And again, I think that we have a pretty good chance to be 8-0.
Every time you looked up, we had 7 more points, and our offense was never on the field.
Right. We were in 3 offensive plays, and we were up 21-0.
Yes. When you say we, you mean Pitt. I'm not.
Absolutely.
I don't pay Pitt to educate my kid. What is that saying? Hail to Pitt. Like, what does that mean?
That just means hail to Pitt.
Yeah, it's just silly. It's silly.
Well, it's nothing like the brother loving they have down in West Virginia, but we do what we can.
All right, so that's college. We don't really care about too many other games, right? Oregon's really good. Is there who's number 2 in the country?
I'm not sure. Texas. I'd have to look. To be honest.
It's just I really don't follow college football. I'll watch probably about 5 games a year until you get into like bowl season. Then it just depends on how big it is, what's going on, if I'm sitting there eating food with the family or whatnot. But there's so many bowl games now. I'm like very disinterested in all of them.
I agree. Again, I think that they should make the playoffs a little. I mean, they're going to the 12-team format this year, which I love. It finally gives other teams opportunities. I think this is only going to help college football. Again, people are getting tired of your Alabamas, your Ohio States, your Oregons, your teams that are always in there. Let's get some other teams. Look for that possibility of an upset and give some other teams a chance in college football. It just stinks that the same two
Will there be
teams.
like a Cinderella story like there is in college basketball?
There could be, right? The more teams you add, the more chance that you have of that happening. Number 1 in the country is Oregon. Number 2 is Georgia. 3 is Penn State. 4 is Ohio State. 5, Miami.
Yeah, but Miami stinks too. I think Ohio State, Penn State, and Miami are all overrated. I'm not saying they're bad teams, but I think they could be beat by anybody.
Miami's got a pretty good team. They're 8-0, and their quarterback Cam Ward is he may be the Heisman winner this year. There are
that means
a couple
have a terrible NFL career.
Maybe. But those are your top 5. Again, I don't really feel the Penn State. I don't feel the Ohio State as much this year. I think Georgia's good. Oregon's good. I think Miami, Texas. But those 2 Big Ten teams right there, not a big fan of them sitting at 3 and 4.
Moving on, because I can't stand college football. Here's what I see. There's a pass play, and dudes are wide open by 20 yards. And I'm like, how is it constantly happening in college football? So I just can't stand college football because, I mean, you don't even have to be a good quarterback because you don't have to feed the ball in it. You just have to be able to scramble and hit a guy wide open.
Yeah.
But Major League Baseball, the World Series is going on right now. And in about an hour and 20 minutes, I believe, Game 5 is happening between the Oakland Athletics. I believe they're hosting the Pittsburgh Pirates, correct? Right? So the Oakland Athletics are up 3-1, right?
Yeah. That'd be something, huh?
I mean, like, if you're a baseball fan, Ryan, I haven't watched a full game because I really don't care, but I flipped it on here and there. And every single New York Yankee that gets up to bat, he's on steroids. Every single one of them is like giant. They have these tree trunk thighs. Like, they're just ginormous humans. And I'm like, they're on steroids. Like, this is just stupid. And then they hit a home run and everybody cheers. And I'm like, well, that's not very exciting.
I just wondering why we're not getting the guys with the steroids. Everybody else has they found the key to winning, and we still are doing. I
think they have the more money. They have more money, and so therefore I think they can stay away from stay ahead of the testing. You know, you get the better, the newer stuff that they don't have the tests for yet.
The thing is, it's sickening because it does. If people say, "Well, it isn't money," you have a league where these two teams, I forget what the number is. It's like billions of dollars, over $1 billion or if I could pull it up real quick, but it's a lot of money spent by these two ball clubs on their players. There's no these guys. If you were wondering,
the payrolls it's over $300 million for the Yankees, and it's like over $250 million for the Dodgers. Okay, but here's the thing: the Dodgers have Ohtani, who they're paying only $2 million to, but really they're paying him like $60 million. So they're both like over $610,000, or I'm sorry, $610 million for these teams.
All right, here's the numbers I was looking for. They have a combined $3 billion in salaries just from 10 guys alone between the two baseball teams. Of course, LA got guys like Ohtani.
You're talking about their whole contract?
Just give me 1 second. Between Ohtani, Betts, Freddie Freeman, and a couple other guys. And then on the Mets or the Yankees, of course, you have Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton. These are the 10 biggest contracts in the 2024 World Series is how it's written out. The 10 biggest contracts, and it comes out to over $3 billion between those 10 guys.
Here's the sad part is Paul Skeen's going to be part of this at some point.
Yes, he sure
is. Are you
is.
going to root for Paul Skeens at that point in his career? Because I don't root for Garrett Cole. I never liked Garrett Cole.
I liked Garrett when he was here. I don't root for him anymore. So if Paul Skeens goes elsewhere for money, I'm sure I won't be rooting for him. But while he's here, I'll certainly.
Did you root for Charlie Morton? Because I did. Yeah, see.
Matter of fact, when he was yes, he was
in Houston.
He was also the number 4 in that nice rotation we had back in our playoff team. And
playoffs?
Talking about playoffs?
Playoffs. We got to worry about beating. Who was it that we lost to the Giants and the Cubbies?
Yeah.
What was that? We lost 10-0 or something, I think, combined.
Well, that who was the pitcher for the Giants? He just killed us. That Bumgarner. Remember that?
Yeah. Okay. I think he won the Cy Young. He pitched 9 times in the World Series. It was something he saved 2 games and he won 2 games in the World Series. He was the most ridiculous pitcher, right? That entire year, right?
Right.
So. All right, you kind of ran into a buzzsaw there. So next year, you'll probably run into a good pitcher, but you're not going to run into the best pitcher in the game. Boom, Jake Arrieta. Same freaking thing. And it's a 1 game. Why does 162 come down to 1 game?
Yeah. And
why does it even come down to 3 games? I guess they should all be 7-game series.
And it's so funny because baseball, it does this to you because it is 162 games. You lose track because a lot of times during the course of a game when your team loses, you think, it's just 1 game, they play 162. But when you don't make the playoffs by 2 games at the end of the season, look how those little moments, Brian, throughout the course of a season, they make a huge difference. You win that game, that's that 1 game difference at the end of the year. Baseball's crazy like that. 162. A lot of things can happen.
All right. Before we go to break and come back with Steelers talk, I want to talk real quick. The Major League Baseball umpires, they listed the 7 umpires playing, and they are the worst umpires this year. And they're calling a terrible game behind the plate. And I'm not saying that decides the game, but how is it that the umpire union is so strong that you're getting the worst 5 to 7 umpires umpiring? Shouldn't it be a reward? If you're accurate, the most accurate guy is the number 1 guy. Boom. The second, that should be a bonus.
Yeah.
You get paid all this extra money and you get to be in the World Series. But no, they have, the 30-some ranked, 70-some ranked umpires.
Yeah, no, especially the World Series. Most people are watching. People realize that are baseball fans realize the season's over. Even if these aren't your teams in the World Series, you have a lot of eyes on this game. How you don't put your best 5 to 7 guys out there come on, this thing could be over tonight for 5 games.
I hope it is. I can't stand the Yankees. Not that I like the Dodgers, but
right.
I just can't stand the Yankees.
Again, with the money put into these 2 teams, I'm not going to watch it because they paid for this World Series, and that's not what it's about to me.
And the players paid for their juice to the home runs. It's boring. All right, listen, we're going to talk about the Steelers when we come back and wrap up the show. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Want the ultimate cigar experience? Fat Boys Cigars Premium Tobacco Shop and Smoking Lounge is located off of 376 in Center Township. Fat Boys Cigars offers all your cigar needs with an assortment of some of the finest cigars, including small batch boutique cigars and over 21 aromatic pipe tobacco blends and accessories. Stop and see their luxurious lounge accommodations. Book them for your next event. Visit their social media page for a list of event dates and times. Welcome to the Fat Boys world, Beaver County.
Make your dream of a college degree a reality at Community College of Beaver County. CCBC offers 10 pathways to success, including health sciences, criminal justice, industrial technology, business, and more. Start at CCBC and finish your career or get transfer ready, all at a realistic cost. Enroll today, ccbc.edu.
At Geneva College, your academic experience will prepare you with exceptional expertise in your chosen field. But what you'll learn is so much more than just that. Integrating faith and learning, you'll grow to see God's purpose and calling in your life's work. You'll be challenged to imagine how the world around you could be different and what your part might be in making that difference. You were made to live courageously. Visit geneva.edu today.
If you like stuffing, this is your favorite time of the year. This is Cindy Haladio from Friendly Federal Credit Union. I like stuffing too, especially when it comes to stuffing your wallet with cash. Forget the fancy Thanksgiving recipes. I suggest a visit to Friendly Federal Credit Union. Apply for a holiday loan today to stuff your pocketbook before holiday shopping. Based on credit approval, Friendly Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, equal housing lender.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. You can check him out alongside co-host Mike Mueller every Monday through Friday on YouTube from 11 a.m. till noon. Search Two Dumb Yinzers. They talk Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, and much, much more. Also, make sure you check us out here on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. In addition to that, make sure you go over to One Man's Opinion on Sports over on YouTube. I do have a couple channels over there. One Man's Opinion on Sports, I upload videos, as well as One Man's Opinion on Sports, hashtag shorts, where I upload shorts. And head on over to X, formerly known as Twitter, OMO on Sports, One Man's Opinion on Sports. Make sure you follow me on there. The Washington Redskins play the New York Football Giants Sunday. I feel like the Commanders can probably just like rest their guys in the second half and rest up for the Steelers the following week.
You say they play the Giants.
Yeah, I was hoping it was like one of those like tough games. Like,
yeah,
but it is an division game.
It is a division game.
So sometimes those are tough and people get banged up and whatnot.
And it does give us a chance to see the team that we play next against the team that we played last. I think there's advantages you could have by that as well. Again, we get to sit back, get healthy, and watch this all go down while Washington goes out there and plays their game against the team that we just played. I don't mind this game. I probably will not checking it out if it's on TV.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to check that out, but I'm going to be a Denver Broncos fan because I think that that's where we need all the help we can get is other teams beating the Ravens. Let's see here. Who on Washington? Oh, Jalen Daniels is questionable. Interesting. Who on Washington is good?
Let's take the receiver, McLaurin. He's proven to be really good with a quarterback.
Yes.
Since they have a quarterback, Terry McLaurin. There are a couple other guys. I mean, they're making big plays. They're playing really good football right now. Again, atop an NFC East that I don't think that even with their new quarterback, many people didn't have winning that division. And still at this point, people were probably shocked. Wow, Washington is at the top, and they look like the best team.
Did you see that Hail Mary he threw?
Yes.
Did you see the holding by the right tackle before he threw it?
Yes.
Oh, it was a bad. That's just like the difference. I don't understand how. Should that stuff be reviewed?
Absolutely. Especially on a scoring drive.
Like a little hold. It's like, all right, I believe they call it like incidental contact in like the NBA if there's like a foul and there's a little bit of contact. But it's like, dude, when you're blatantly like having the guy's shoulder pad and you've got your arm and then he can't get to and sack the guy or at least have an attempt to sack the guy and then boom, it's a touchdown. But I don't know. I'm all tangled up on the chair. It's really bothering me. I don't understand how this wire goes everywhere but where I want it to go. If I put it up here, that's even worse. So we're just going to do that. All right. So we play the Commanders on the road. We're going to be dogs, I assume. They're going to be 7-2, maybe 8-1. We do have Russell Wilson. We will have everybody healthy. We will have 2 weeks to prepare for them.
If they have a way to expunge one of those losses and become 8-1, I would definitely say they'll be the winner because they're able to do this. They already have 2 losses, so I think they'll at least be.
Oh, what are they? 6-2?
Yeah, they'll be at least 7-2 if they win.
Really? I thought they had 1 loss. Oh no, that's Detroit. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I got those confused. Good. Okay. I knew they were in first place in their division. I thought they had 1 loss. They have 2 losses. Okay, so. What if we expunge the Cowboys loss? Can we do that?
For us?
That one was really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take
it. Okay, we need to.
That's the thing. I think, listen, if this team had any better of a record, then I think people could start claiming, you know what, this is, they haven't really won anything yet. It feels a lot like the year they went 11-0. They're just kind of getting by. But I think 6-2 kind of feels right at this point. Yes, there's plenty of bad things you could say, but there's plenty of good things too. And you know what? When they needed the big play, they got the big play. You get that. You got it last week from Austin with the punt return, and the timely plays by T.J. Watt in that particular game. So
he played.
Things are happening through the season to make you say, okay, they're right again in that pack. I'm not saying they're great. I'm not saying that they're bad. They're in that pack of teams, and I think that that group of teams all have a shot to get into the playoffs, maybe win a game, and we'll see what happens.
I don't see us winning a game, but that's just me. Russell Wilson does give us a much better chance than we've had in the past years. Even Ben's final year, he couldn't do anything.
Like 11-0. 11-0 was not a good year. Who would have thought you go 11-0 and it wasn't a good year?
Then you go 1-5. I think we beat the Colts. I think that's the only team we beat.
They forgot how to catch a football. Every receiver on that football team forgot how to catch after the 11th game. It was insane. I've never seen anything like that.
I'm trying to look at my notes here and go over something that we didn't cover in this show here that's anything good. Oh, there's something I wanted to bring up. What are your thoughts? And let me just explain this to everybody. A football game typically takes 3 hours.
Yeah.
During that 3 hours, 8% of the 60-minute game, right? They play 15-minute quarters, right? 8% of the 60-minute game is actual playing.
An hour of gameplay, yes. 60 minutes.
No.
Yeah.
8% of 60 minutes.
I'm going to explain it to you. If you go home and watch the game that you taped from last week, and you would cut through all the commercials, all the BS, everything that builds up between the plays, if you would take it by the time officially ran by the NFL for the game clock, it comes out to about a little over an hour, a little over 60 minutes. There are a bunch of fluff, a bunch of stuff in between plays, a bunch of things.
No, but the actual plays.
60 minutes.
In 3 hours? No.
60 minutes of play.
No.
Absolutely. I've done this.
I've watched the NFL replays in an hour of plays.
Yes.
But that's not just the plays.
Yeah, there's 60 minutes of play.
How many plays are in a game then? Because an average play lasts 7 seconds. An average play lasts 7 seconds. So how many plays are in a game? That's not an hour's worth. I can tell you that.
They play an hour of football. 60 minutes. That's what 60 minutes is.
No. 60 minutes is the clock.
And when you take the commercials and all the BS out, it comes out to just over 60 minutes.
What I'm talking about is when the quarterback's standing there and nobody's moving. That's
and the clock's not running.
No, the clock's running.
That's time being taken off.
That's not playing. I'm talking about them actually playing the game.
Well, that's part of playing the game. Is standing there for a second.
That's standing around resting. That's watching.
It is.
That's watching Peyton Manning audible.
Playing baseball is standing in the field. Even though you're standing in the field, you're still playing the game of baseball. That's
no, you're not. You're standing around. You're
picking the game.
Daisies and chasing butterflies.
Be it as it may, that's how you play the game. That's the way the game's designed.
So, no. In a soccer game, you're running the entire game, except for maybe the goaltenders, okay? In hockey, you're playing the whole game when you jump over that board, and that's why they are rushed in and out constantly. In football, you play for 7 seconds. And unlike the Steelers who ran the hurry up, what did they do? The first 3 drives, they ran the hurry up, and I think they did it once or twice in the second half too.
Which I love.
Yeah. That's a way to keep their defensive linemen huffing and puffing and slow them down a little bit. That's exactly why they did it.
Absolutely.
That was smart by whoever decided that one. But the average play takes 7 seconds.
On average. So, okay, yeah.
So in 3 hours, 8% of the game is them actually playing. When I say playing, I mean moving. Okay? Peyton Manning up there yelling the audibles, that doesn't count.
As long as the clock is running, it counts.
It does not.
If the clock is running, it does. It's official. It's official gameplay.
Well, tell that to my steps watch, okay? Because if I'm standing there and my Apple steps watch says I'm not moving, I'm not playing.
So an outfielder in baseball only plays about 3 minutes a game, basically.
We're talking about the NFL right now.
But again,
listen, Ryan, we have 2 minutes left.
All right, I see where you're going now.
We have 2 minutes left here.
Yeah.
We have 2 minutes left.
Maybe we should have started with this.
No, because I wanted to end with it because I didn't want to get into it the whole night.
Yeah.
2 minutes and 30 seconds is how much you're actually playing the game, whether you're offense or defense.
2 minutes and 30 seconds?
That's it. where you're actually moving?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Google it.
No.
Google it.
I'm not. That's false information.
8% of the game is actual them playing the game. If you're on offense or defense, that's 4%. 4% of 60 minutes is 2.5 minutes. Do the math.
Listen, I am going to do the math. I'll do it deeply. We have a week, and I'll come back with my argument. That's a kind of a tough one to throw at somebody out of nowhere because there is a lot that goes into this.
It's not out of nowhere. Here's the bottom line.
Well, there's conversation here, obviously.
The players rest 95% of the time and play 5% of the time. They're resting.
Well,
I don't care if they're lined up.
It's not a fast-paced game like soccer and like hockey.
But how are you tired is what I'm saying. Why would anybody need to rest?
Have you ever tried to get by a professional grade tackle to make a play? I mean, it's obviously got to be
tough. The tackle stops you from getting by. They don't rest. So why but give me that argument again.
What I'm saying
is
the
offensive lineman who's stopping you from getting by is hustling just as much as you. Why do you need to rest? And
because you're already twisted. I'm take one position right off the top because you got to break this down into 22 different positions on what it is you're saying and the answer that you're looking for. If I'm the TJ Watt, where I obviously thought you were going, if I have to try to get by a professional offensive tackle for 3 hours. It's a tough job. You do need some breaks. You do need to take a little bit of time, put some water in your body. You can't constantly go for 3 straight hours against a guy who's a professional offensive tackle.
All right, everyone. We're going to give you 2 weeks to think about it. Why on God's earth would TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, your 2 top pass rushers, be sitting on the sidelines with the game on the line, ball within field goal position? They need to score a touchdown, and you have your 2 best pass rushers on the sidelines resting at the end of the game.
That's a head
scratcher. That gives you
scratcher.
2 weeks to think about that, everybody. We're going to take next week off, and we'll see you guys back here the Wednesday after that. Everybody, make sure you get out there and vote this Tuesday. If you're a Democrat, make sure you get out there and vote on Wednesday. All right, everyone, you've been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll see you back here in a couple weeks.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas.
Down. They were a great third down team, and then we got our business done on third down.
And Pitt All-American Doran Dickerson obviously has played the game at a high level. Pat Bostic, they both said the result of the interceptions was good film study and technique.